Biggest cheaters in MLB. Where there is competition, there will be cheating. Athletes are always looking for a way to get an edge. For some, it means spending extra hours in the gym or taking extra batting practice. Others, however, gain an edge through deceitful actions. Throughout baseball's history, there have always been cheaters. Throughout the history of the game, there have been players that have been accused and found guilty of breaking the rules of the game for their own competitive advantage. Everything from corked bats, doctoring baseballs, and, yes, even steroids have come to pass. 12. Jose Canseco. With 462 career home runs, you would think that any player would be on his way to the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. That would only be the case if you didn't know that Jose Canseco hit those home runs. When you think of baseball players known for cheating, he is the kingpin. He has openly admitted to taking performance-enhancing drugs in his tell-all book and is open regarding his drug use in any email he gives. He has also admitted to being the man who introduced PEDs to other players, including Jason Giambi and Miguel Tejada. 11. Alex Rodriguez. When you look at the most talented players in the history of Major League Baseball, one of the first players that will be mentioned is Alex Rodriguez. A-Rod has the natural talent that made it easy for fans to love him when he was with the Seattle Mariners. More than a decade and several massive contracts later, he will have missed the entire 2014 season because of suspension for his role in the biogenesis drug scandal. The original suspension was set to be for 211 games, which would have been one of the longest in the history of sports. 10. Whitey Ford. Whitey Ford cheated in numerous ways during his career. He would cut the ball with his wedding ring or have his catcher cut the ball on the buckles of his shin guards. In addition, Ford would load the ball with mud. He admitted to doing this during the 1963 World Series. Ford also threw what was known as a gump ball. He put a mixture of baby oil, turpentine, and rosin on the ball. There is a story that Ford kept this mixture in a roll-on dispenser and manager Yogi Berra once mistook it for deodorant. As the story goes, Berra ended up using it and glued his arms to his sides. 9. Hal Chase. Chase played during the early 1900s and was a very good player. However, he was accused of throwing numerous games. The first allegation against him came in 1910. He was suspended for part of the 1917 season after manager Christy Mathewson accused him of throwing games. In 1918, teammate Lee McGee accused Chase of trying to bribe him to throw games. Chase was suspended once again during the 1919 season when it was thought that he was throwing games yet again. In 1920, Chase was suspended from Pacific Coast League ballparks for attempting to bribe an umpire. 8. Sammy Sosa. Sosa makes this list for two different reasons. The first reason that Sosa is on this list is that he was caught using a corked bat during a game against the Devil Rays in 2003. Sosa has also been linked to steroids. It was reported by Michael Schmidt of the New York Times that Sosa was one of the players who tested positive during MLB's survey testing in 2003. It is not known what Sosa allegedly tested positive for. 7. Mark McGwire. It was a shock when androstenedione was found in Mark McGwire's locker. However, he should not be condemned for it because it was legal in the US and not banned by baseball while he was using it. McGwire was, however, conclusively linked to steroids and eventually admitted to using them during his playing career. As part of Operation Equine in 1992, the FBI found steroid dealer Curtis Wenslaff. Wenslaff had notes that stated he put McGwire on a cocktail of Winstrol V, testosterone, and equipoise. 6. Albert Belle. In 1994, slugger Albert Belle had his bat confiscated by umpire Dave Phillips before a game against the White Sox. During the game, Indians pitcher Jason Grimsley attempted to retrieve the bat. He went into the crawl space above the umpire's room and replaced the corked bat. Unfortunately for Belle, Grimsley replaced the bat with one that had Paul Sorrento's name on it. The reason that this was done was because all of Belle's bats were corked. As a result of this, Belle was suspended for 7 games. 5. Joe Niekro. In a game in 1987 against the Angels, Twins knuckleballer Joe Niekro's slider was unhittable. Umpire Tim Cheetah came out to the mound to see if there was anything fishy going on. As this happened, an emery board flew out of Niekro's pocket. 4. Gaylord Perry. Perry was known throughout his career for doctoring baseballs, but almost no one could prove that he was doing it. He was also a big proponent of the spitball, but he said that he didn't use it often. Perry also used Vaseline on baseballs. Perry also threw a puffball. This was a pitch that had so much rosin on the ball that there were puffs of smoke as it headed towards home plate. Even Perry's catcher with the Padres, Gene Tenace, noted that there were times where he struggled throwing the ball back to Perry because it was so loaded. 3. 1951 San Francisco Giants. The San Francisco Giants admitted that they used a sign-stealing system during the 1951 season. The Giants head coach Herman Frank sat in the clubhouse, which was in center field, and used a telescope to see the signs that the catcher was giving to the pitcher. A bell or buzzer signaled the pitcher to someone in the Giants' bullpen, and then it was eventually relayed to the hitter. It should be noted that the Giants erased a 13.5-game lead that the Dodgers held over them in late August. There have also been questions if Bobby Thompson hit the shot heard round the world because he knew what pitch was coming. 2. Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds has been connected to steroid use for years now. In front of the Balco grand jury, Bonds said that he believed that the clear was flaxseed oil and that the cream was arthritis balm. Bonds was eventually charged with perjury as a result of his testimony. Most of the steroids that Bonds used were given to him by his trainer Greg Anderson. In Book of Shadows, authors Mark Finarwada and Lance Williams alleged that Bonds used insulin, human growth hormone, testosterone decanoate, a fast-acting steroid known as Mexican beans, and trenbolone, a bovine steroid, in addition to the cream and the clear during the 2001 season when he hit 73 home runs. It is also believed that Bonds' steroid regimen grew more and more complicated as the years went on. 1. 1919 Chicago White Sox. The Black Sox scandal is the biggest scandal in baseball's history. 8 members of the White Sox threw at least one game of the 1919 World Series. As a result of the scandal, Eddie Chicot, Oscar Flesch, Arnold Chick Gandil, Shoeless Joe Jackson, Frank McMullen, Charles Swede Risberg, George Buck Weaver, and Claude Lefty Williams were banned from baseball. To this day, Jackson's participation in the fix is debated. There has been doubt cast on Jackson's participation in the scandal by some of the other players involved. In addition, Jackson had the World Series leading .375 batting average. Jackson also did not make any errors in the series. It has been confirmed by multiple players that Jackson never even met with any of the gamblers. It has also been alleged that Jackson was illiterate and did not understand the significance of the plot. It has been suggested that he only participated when Swede Risberg threatened Jackson and his family. As big of a shame as it is that players felt compelled to throw the World Series, it should also be considered a shame that one of the best players of his generation, if he truly was not a part of the scheme, had his career cut short early for something that he did not participate in. That was all for today's video. Before leaving, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.